This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Robert.
Matey.
What's good, matey?
Bro, I just drilled this ball, mate. It's longer than the strongest ball I've ever drilled. It's the best ball ever.
I got my new shirts, and look, I raided some other Patch Pirates treasure. I got myself some booty.
Look at these, all these 300, 800 rings, mate. I buried the treasure, and now I brought it up, mate.
I got my new shirts in the mail. I'm very excited about them. I got my new shirts. I'm sponsored by 6 shirt companies.
Dude, mate, I'm ready to walk the plank if you don't drill this ball because it's the longest and strongest and greatest ball ever.
Greatest ball ever. Greatest ball ever.
Greatest ball.
Happy Halloween, folks.
Happy Halloween, Sweep
Happy
the Rack
Halloween.
edition.
We decided to dress up as the Patch Pirates tonight.
I gotta get the patch off, but the hat's staying on with the earring because this is a sick getup.
I gotta lose these rings. It's amazing that I have so many rings, though. I have to say, goat status over here.
Yo, ahoy, mates! My Fire Road shirt. Everyone needs to drill the Fire Road. It's longest and strongest ball ever. Watch my ball reviews.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Look at this. Yo, I think one of these is actually a PBA somewhere, I think. I don't even know. Anyway, Mike.
All right, listen, I gotta put the proper hat on too, because you all know what it is. You all know what it is, baby. So give me a second. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, Mike. I gotta so I'm gonna get into my you're gonna put the Phillies hat. I gotta sit here with a Phillies hat. So Mike, I gotta talk about my league Tuesday night. Some really good stories. So Tuesday night, I lost my shit on someone while I was bowling. They didn't hear me.
Well, that's passive aggressive.
Well, I tried for them to hear me, but
listen, let me tell you something. If I want to make sure somebody's gonna hear me, they're gonna hear me, son.
So here's what
you're
happened.
gonna know I'm talking to you if I'm talking to you.
Here's what happened, okay? And I know every league bowler could kind of probably get kind of relate to me on this. So one lane courtesy, right? The guy's up. He's right on the left lane, left of me. He goes first before me. I'm up ready to shoot a spare, a 10-pin. And keep in mind that I was already on tilt because it was my 4th 10-pin in my first 4 frames starting.
Because that's what house bowling does to you. It puts you on tilt.
Well, I started my game off, and we're bowling first place team. Okay.
Did you have your name shirt on, you Patch Pirate?
No, but there's money involved here. It's a big money league. You get it? So it's
not
money,
big
right?
money. Come on, no, it's not. It's not life changing money to either one of us. It's not even
life-changing money. But I go there every week, and I want to win, right? All
right. So then put it like that. You want to win. All right, go ahead.
So I start my game off 10-pin, 10-pin, 10-pin. And then the 4th shot, I leave another 10-pin. 2 stone, 2 flat, right? After striking for 15 minutes in practice. Okay, so I'm already on tilt. So I'm ready to get up to shoot my 10-pin. This guy gets up, he throws some bad shot. And after he throws it, he's standing on the foul line. And he's doing this. And he's just he's pretty much sitting there as doing the robot on the lane. I don't know what the hell he was doing. And I go to throw it, and he's still on the lane. He's looking around. He's looking at the foul line. I mean, he's making this big, dramatic, freaking act. So I
And this
literally
is
throw 'em-
to be clear here. This is the player that you're bowling against. That's on your pair.
No.
No.
The guy to
Okay.
the left of me. So
Okay.
I have
Okay.
bowling courtesy here. So
All right. Go ahead.
I'm ready
Okay.
to go. And dude, I throw my ball down. I'm just like, I'm like, I'm like, this guy, like, get off the fucking lane. I started yelling. I'm like, I can't bowl like this. Like this guy, what are you doing? And I'm like dancing. I'm like, yo, what is this? You dancing? I'm like starting to dance on the lane. Dude, my guy that looked at me on my team, yo, he was just like fell over laughing because I'm doing the freaking robot. I'm like, what are you doing? You're dancing, bro. And he just like didn't hear me. He walked away. Like I knew he had to. If you're Mike, I'm loud. You know that.
He may have ignored you.
He did ignore me. And so anyway, so that was my first thing. So people, your bowling league, if you throw a bad shot, yo, get the hell off the lane. Like whatever. Like throw the shot, get the hell off the lane. So yo, like I was all like just tilt from there on out. I knew it was gonna be a shit night. And then dude, I put it on my Twitter. Yo, this guy was bowling to the right of me. He bowled half of the first game on his phone. And I mean, he was talking on the phone while
Holding the phone in the left hand, bowling with the right hand.
With the right hand.
What style? Thumb in the ball?
Well, yeah, he had to have. Yeah, just kind of
Okay.
just throwing in, walking away on having a huge conversation. Think about the bets he's putting in. I don't even know.
How is he bowling?
He bowled 225 the first game on the phone, bro. I'm like, dude, like, you know.
Goes to show you.
Anyway, so
that's the new thing these days, though, isn't it? Like, I've noticed that is more and more popular over the last few years. Is people bowling with headphones in, Bluetooth in, various ways of distracting themselves while the bowling is going on.
Yo, he was bowling and he didn't. And I said to my team, I'm like, yo, like, that's disrespectful, like, to my teammates. Like, yo, if I get if you have a phone, you got to talk, but while you're bowling, I was like, come on, man. Like, and I was like, dude, that's really disrespectful for the people on your team. I think it is. Yo, you drive all the way out there, you're bowling a league, it's a serious league, and now you're on the phone talking while you're bowling. Come on, that's not disrespectful.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
No. So
I wouldn't like that. Unless it was some sort of work situation, emergency situation, and in that case, like, get a sub. Maybe. Let us know and just get a sub. But
so for me, bowling 676. But more importantly, we took 29 points out of 35 or 36. So we had a good night as a team. I mean, we bowled good. They were easy. And I'll be the first to admit it. I'll be the first to admit when they're easier than they're normally are. And this pair we caught last night or Tuesday night was a lot easier than the usual pairs we were on. If it wasn't honestly, and that's why you hate house shots so much. If I was able to carry and actually make a 10 pin, I would have had no problems like shooting like at least 700 on that. Like, it was the carry issues that, I mean, I bowled 220 the first game and I left, I think 5 or 6 10 pins. I mean, how can you bowl? And anyway, so that was my league review. We're tied for first now. I think we have like 3 or 4 weeks left, but I'm just like the fact that we're bowling, we're winning, and we're trying to like, make a run. I just enjoy winning because you're competitive. I'm competitive, Mike. You know that. So
I stink. I'm a hack. I'm 3 shots a game away from bowling extremely well. Like the first game, we were bowling on the short. First game, purple hammer, urethane. I go like front 4 or front 5, 2, 8, 10. Threw it like garbage. Fast, didn't hit it. Terrible. 2, 8, 10. Open. Next shot, hit it too much, overcompensate, 4, 7, make it. Okay, not bad. Strike on the next shot. Next shot, throw it hard again and miss it again, 2, 8, 10 again. Open. What do I end up shooting that game? 2-0. 2-0. And like, Yeah, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating because it's just those 2-3 shots a game where if I throw strikes on both those two 810s, I shoot like 270, like 268. So yeah, it's frustrating. But listen, we had 16 people. People are enjoying what we're doing. I think most of the people that I'm talking to kind of enjoy what we're doing more than the regular league format. So it seems to be working. We're getting a good number of people each week. We have a limited amount of lanes. So if we got more than 16 people right now, we would have some uneven pairs where there'd be 6 on one pair and 4 on others, which I'm not too crazy about. I'm also not too crazy about 6 on every pair because then we're taking a longer time to bowl, and it's beautiful being in there by 7 and out by 9:30. But yeah, it was kind of a split this week between the scratch and handicap bowlers. My man Steph, who's in the chat right now, he won one of the high game pots. He's actually robbed like 190 house, 150 sport, and came and bowled last week, struggled greatly. This week came armed with the urethane, got some advice about how to play them, and ended up popping like 197, I think, the first game or something like that.
But isn't that what it's all about? Like
that's what it's all about. And it's funny because I had a conversation with him through DMs about this. But that's the problem that's part of the problem with the sport bowling and the bowling community. And I think you'll agree with me on this, Rob. Like the higher level bowlers, they don't want to lose to the handicap guys. Okay, they don't ever want to lose to the handicap guys. Right? Especially somebody getting 40, 50 pins. I mean, they look at that as like, oh my God, 40. But here's the thing. If you don't do that, if you don't even it up and make it more fair in that fashion, okay, you're never going to get those people to experience success and stick around. And that's exactly what I said to Steph. I said, see, it's nice that you experienced some success here because now it makes you want to come back. And I also told him what will happen is your average will get re-rated after you've bowled 9 games, and then the bar is going to be raised for you, where now you're not getting this many pitches, you're getting this many. Now you have to shoot better,
So here's the thing is the one important part of your story you told about Stefan is the fact that he was able to get some kind of coaching, and he was able to try to get better and learn, and then actually make some adjustments, bring a urethane ball, try something new, and take some advice, and then come back the next week and then try to implement the advice that he got. I think a lot of the problem today is that these sport leagues and these challenging patterns that these people, they go bowl every week, but there's nobody to,
help them out
and coach them on the right way to do it. A lot of people don't want the coaching because they think they're so great from averaging 230 on their house shot that they don't want to hear advice or hear maybe, hey, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try. Well, I don't need to do that. I'm a 230 average. But all I'm saying is that's the problem in today is the lack of education and the lack of coaching on a sport challenging shot, is where a lot of the issue is.
Yeah, I actually helped him out in practice. So he was basically just lined up too far left, and he was throwing urethane at the gutter. And it was light. And I told him, nah, man, you got to get your feet way right. Like, you got to have your feet right of this dot here. This is where you need to be looking. And, yeah, at first he struggled with it. But then after a half game or so, he was like, all right, I got the feel for it here.
Mike, do you know how many times I've crossed on, like, pairs with people bowling, like, these amateur sport tournament events that are averaging, like, 120, 140, they're just continuously doing the same thing over and over again for 8 games where they're trying to play 20 with a performance ball. And all they would need to do is come over to me after the tournament or even during the tournament and say, hey, look, this is my first time, or I've only been doing this for a couple of years. Like, what do you think I need to do or work on? And dude, I would be more than happy to give anyone advice.
Yeah. But do you think we're the exception or we're the rule on that?
What's that?
Do you think that people who take our approach and are willing to give the advice, do you think we're the exception on that, or do you think we're the rule on that? You think most people are willing to do it?
Dude, I think so. If I'm 200 or 300 under and I'm not in competition to like and maybe after the tournament would be more of a kind of a way to do it, because like, you know, maybe as someone who maybe has only been bowling a year, if I'm in their shoes and I cross with someone who maybe went, you know, 200 over on that pattern and I went 300 under, like for the tournament to be over and for me to go over that person and say, hey, look, like, you know, I don't know if you know, I are comfortable with this, but I'd really like some advice on like, what do you think I need to work on, or how should I play this pattern? And I guarantee you 98% of the great bowlers out there, you know, even the pros would be more than happy to spend 5 or 10 minutes and try to explain to them what they need to do. But that person has to ask. Mike, I'm not going to
see. For me, they don't even have to ask. I'm going to give them the advice, even if it's unsolicited. I don't care. If I see somebody struggling, I can't help myself. It fries me if they just sit there and continue to struggle, especially if they're doing the wrong thing.
But you're a high school coach by heart. Like, you know what? I've always been in this school. Look, I grew up in Brooklyn. Like, I'm not going to mind my own.
I know.
My own business.
Totally understand that. Yeah, and honestly, it could come off as kind of dickish too, a little bit, because like, you know, it seems like you're saying to somebody they're doing something wrong. But you know, I kind of know. Shout to these guys too. Like Steph and a few other guys, they've actually been staying after we're done and bowling extra games on the pattern and practicing after we're done. So, you know, you kind of get hooked on it. All right, Rob, I shot 550. That's the bottom line. I went 213, 186 the second game with a 4-9 and a missed spare early in the game. And then 150 the last game. I bowled terribly. I bowled so bad the last game. Honestly, I was tired. I was out of gas. I was focused on other things. So
join the house league and get you some hardware, Mike. Get you some hardware.
150 the last game. So all right, we have a guest tonight, Rob. We have a guest tonight.
We do.
We're going to keep it moving here. So last week we got into the story. Should I say we broke the story?
We did.
Should I say that? Should we?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we broke the story of you know, what was going down at Big Bowling and some of the behind the scenes information with Big Bowling and the issues they were having with producing their equipment and you know, obviously with the lack of PBA product registration going into this season. So we announced last week, we told you last week that we were going to bring on one of the former employees of Big who had reached out to us and contacted us. So he's here tonight. Rob, let's bring him on. We welcome on to the show Will Smith. Will, welcome to Sweep the Rack, my guy.
All right, mateys. How we doing?
He knows the word.
Ball longer and stronger, the greatest ball ever.
Hey, can you get it? You know, I just do that hockey stick shape. I gotta have that. It's gotta hit the pins at an angle. You know.
Can you get us some free balls? I know you're not in the best standing with Big, but can you get us some free balls?
Yeah, buddy, I got stuff sitting on the shop floor right now.
Give
us some of that very treasure you have, matey.
Put up a ball review video.
I mean, come on.
Oh my God, it's so bad. We're not even going to get into that. All right, so Rob, where do you want to start here?
I want to start on actually, you know, where you started with Big, some of your history on how, you know, you got involved with Big, what you did there. I know you did a lot of different things, but, you know, give us at least a little bit of the high level, quick version of the start and the origins of you with Big.
Okay, Cliff Notes version. I'm really good friends with the former president of Big. His name's Tony, and Rob and I have that mutual connection there. So that's kind of cool. And I've known Victor for a good almost 25 years now. I bowled league with him in the early 2000s, so we had that connection as well. So Tony had said, "Hey, we're gonna start something in Airway Heights, and I'd like you to be a part of it." And of course, knowing me, I ask a million questions. I'm like, "Well, what the hell is it?" He says, "Oh, it's a bowling company. We're going to make bowling balls, and Victor's going to be the guy designing." He said, "Oh, that'd be really fun." He said, "Would you be willing to travel?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'd love to go sell bowling balls and maybe rep people and do whatever." So he said, "Well, you're going to get a call from Victor and possibly Rhino Page in the next couple weeks." Said, "All right." Well, unbeknownst to me, that was going to be my audition to get into Big Bowling. So I got a call from them, and they wanted me to drill some stuff for Rhino. So met up somewhere and we drilled some bowling balls, and it went really well. And to this day, Rhino and I are pretty good friends, and we still talk bowling all the time. But that was the introduction to Big. And then when I got my foot in the door, I was wearing a lot of hats. So I was initially just supposed to be a salesman for the most part, doing sales calls and just trying to push product. But it ended up being me basically working a whole side of the warehouse where I was working on the lathe. So cutting down bowling balls, using CNC machines to cut labels, pour labels, finish bowling balls, weigh bowling balls, box them, get the ship station working, getting bowling balls out the door. So I was doing basically 7 or 8 jobs, and they were all pretty involved jobs, mostly at the same time. So it was a frustrating situation, to say the least. So that's kind of the Cliff Notes version of that.
Gotcha. And you were there, and how long until you were I guess departure? Like how many years was this you were there?
So it was about a year. I had made initial contact September of 2019.
Okay.
It's kind of when we started talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point, I was working for a company in Spokane that did logistical stuff, just basically running trucks for grocery and hardline goods. So I was a buyer for them. And I quit that job in February to go to the World Series of Bowling to rep, and I pulled the qualifier. And if you ever get to look that up, that's a pretty funny thing because I finished last in the qualifier. But long story short, that was kind of my introduction to the world of repping bowlers, professional bowlers, and that was kind of like the first week of work basically. And then from there, I went February, we were furloughed in March, end of March, April. And then I went and said, I got to find something else to do. So I applied for school and got into a program at a local community college and started into that, which I thought initially was going to benefit the business itself. It was a mechanical design program with a whole lot of like physics and math involved. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I can get onto the R&D side Big and we can run with it. Unfortunately, that obviously didn't happen. So
okay.
it was
Cool. I think that's a good overview. So you got furloughed, and that was due to COVID, I would imagine, right? Well, that was 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get furloughed, and is that really where the end of it? Like, I mean, did they ever bring you back, or where did it kind of go from there? Because I know Victor reached out and he said that he ran in he had a lot of health issues due to COVID, and I know that was a lot of the reasons why they struggled as well as some of the funding too. I guess their main investor, which we talked about last week, like
Sure.
the Indian tribe, like pulled funding because of COVID. So I guess and I spoke to Tony. We messaged a lot, and I got a few messages from Victor. But I guess on your email that you wrote to us, you talked a lot about some bad, I guess, business decisions and some just stuff that you didn't agree with, that some of the decisions that were getting made for a higher up. So I guess talk a little bit about that. Like, what did you see while you were there? Like, why you decided to reach out to email us? So start getting into some of the emails that
Sure.
the email you guys sent to us.
So in the email, I had chronicled just a few points. One of them being we had done about 100 bowling balls, it was 100 shimwreckers. All the way through the process, they were short pins, and the tops were a little bit funny. They weren't anything that you couldn't sell. So 100 bowling balls, and you figured about $120. That's $12,000. We threw those out, and the person who had to throw those out was me. And I asked Victor, I was like, hey man, what the hell are we doing? Why are we throwing these things out? And he said, oh, well, that was a good mistake. I'm like, what the fuck is that about? There's no way that's a good mistake. That's somebody's salary, dude. Well, you have to look at it from a point of view, like, all right, just because it's just a little bit off, you can't not sell it. There's something you have to recoup in this situation. So in that sense, I didn't agree with it whatsoever. One, because I had to touch them 7 or 8 times, and two, we're throwing out product that's workable, that we can sell, and we can maybe either reinvest back in the company and or pay people that are on the floor working.
Well, I was going to say while people aren't getting paid.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So that was a pain point for me. Another pain point was there was a lathe that we bought, or that he bought, excuse me. It's a really nice CNC, super badass lathe, right? $150,000. Okay. It ended up being a bottleneck in the warehouse. So we would pour blocks, pour cores. They'd go over to covers. We pour covers. Okay. The next steps are labels and then cut them down. Well, it's 2.5 minutes every pass on this lathe. Okay. So you're doing 100 bowling balls at a time or more. Okay. 2.5 minutes times 100. You can do the math. It's a long time. Then you have to retool the actual lathe itself. So that takes another 15 to 20 minutes. All right. And it's just knocking on it. And you've got this precision tool that sits on top of it. Okay. And you're just trying to get it straight. Awesome. So that takes time. Then you have to run another pass. Then you have to finish all the stuff. So it was a bottleneck, and it was serving other purposes in the warehouse. It was cutting down another technology that Victor had developed too. So it was a pain point, because that was all on me to do that kind of stuff. And not getting paid for it made it worse.
So you mentioned in your email about, and we talked last week about the funding coming for Big Bowling coming from an Indian tribe that was interested in building a bowling center and building a bowling ball manufacturing plant for Big Bowling, and Big Bowling was going to be involved in some things. I guess my question would be, were things ever great with Big Bowling from your experience? I mean, was there ever a time where things were running smoothly and things were going well and it seemed like this is on the right trajectory to be a success? Or was it from the moment you got in, no, things aren't going well, and then the funding got pulled, when COVID hit?
It felt like there were red flags immediately. I mean, just to give you an idea, I walked in the warehouse the first time and it was a state of disorganization. There wasn't an SOP involved. There's no operating procedure. There was kind of like, okay, they do things over there and they kind of do things over there. Great, that's fine. Finding a tool in the warehouse was difficult. Okay, but from my understanding, there was supposed to be an FEC, Family Entertainment Center, that the tribe was going to build, and they were breaking ground as soon as we started pouring bowling balls. Well, that never happened. And as far as I know, Kalispell has been talking about putting a bowling center out there in Airway Heights for 20 years plus. So we've got people moving into town. Okay. We've got people that are in town that are investing in this business. Okay. This new business, or rather they're loaning money to the business, is what I was told, loaning money to the business, and on the promise that they were going to get it back. Okay, because they were building this FEC and that there was funding coming in, and it never happened. So I don't know if COVID had anything to do with the breaking ground on the FEC itself, because that's been talked about long before Big was even thought of. So I don't really know in that respect. But from my perspective, it didn't make sense right away. It's like, okay, nobody's getting paid. I get it. All right, but I know there's some kind of money coming in. Can't we just do some kind of a minimum wage situation, or don't tell us you're going to pay us next month, and then next month comes and nothing happens. Oh no, we'll get you next month. Well, you can only do that so many times until you say, well, where the hell's the money? Where's the beef?
So I guess that would be my question is, so, according, when I was messaging back and forth with Tony, he was saying that a lot of the workers, at least the more of the maintenance workers and the low end people were getting paid. It was more of the higher end, and it seemed like a really small operation, right? Like 5 to 8 of you.
Absolutely.
So was there anybody that was getting paid from the company, and it was just maybe a select few of you that weren't getting paid, or was this them telling you were getting paid to everybody, and they were just not paying like a majority or nobody there?
While I was there, nobody got paid.
Nobody got paid.
Nobody got paid. Nobody.
And they were telling you guys that you guys were going to get paid, and you have like a salary agreement and all that stuff.
It's a next month thing. Okay. It was always, oh, we'll get you next month. Example. When I went to the World Series, okay, I had talked to Victor directly. I said, hey, I'm paying this out of pocket on my own dollar. All right. He's like, oh, we will get that to you next month. And then next month came and nothing. Didn't get anything. Okay, that's fine. Next month came, nothing. Still working in the warehouse. All right. Where do we go from here?
Right. Well, you have expenses, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You have bills. I would imagine. I'm not sure if you're married, you have kids, whatever.
I got 2 kids and a wife and stuff too, and she was pissed off because I wasn't getting paid.
Right.
But she knew that she was drinking the Kool-Aid too. It's like, hey, this is your dream, Will. I know you want to do this, and I know you've always wanted to be involved with something like this. So it's great, but when is it going to actually happen?
So how long did you work there until you didn't get? How long total? Like, you said it was a year that you worked there.
It was almost a year, yeah.
And you never got $1 from them.
I had started school. It was September of 2020. We did the ball videos that I talked about in the email, which were a nightmare. I'll just say that, and we'll end it there on that one. They were tough. And then I worked a couple months, and then you know what? I can't do it anymore. Between school and you trying to push. Tell me I'm going to get paid and not get paid, I can't do it anymore. So that's where it ended.
Yeah, well, we like to speculate around here, so I'm going to speculate for a second because I feel like there's some room for speculation here. Absolutely. Based on some of the way that it seems these events unfolded. Like, I'd like to know who was in touch with the Indian tribe about the guarantee of building this family entertainment center, because again, to speculate here, Rob, it wouldn't be hard for somebody to make something like that up and say they have the backing of an Indian tribe who's going to build a family entertainment center just to try and get things off the ground, attract people to come and work for them, attract investors to the company, and when Will says that from the jump, it never seemed like they were even interested in breaking ground on it. I mean, that's, again, to speculate. But to me, it never felt like big bowling ever really got rolling. Rob, I don't know how you feel about it, but just as a fan of the sport and, obviously somebody who stays on top of bowling balls coming out. And, when there was the announcement that there was a new bowling ball company entering the scene, I mean, that's bound to make a big splash because it's way more common today to hear that there's bowling ball companies shutting down than opening up.
Right. Well, here's my question is do you feel, Will, that Big bought their PBA product registration way too early in the life of the company? Because I would imagine that costs a pretty penny, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's another pain point because I brought it up. It's like at the time of the World Series when I went to rep the guys, we literally only had 3 bowling balls. Okay.
Yeah, see, yes.
I mean, we were fucking brown boxing it, dude, on the truck. Okay. So having to lug around brown boxes all over the place. And those are the big balls. Yeah. And on top of that, let's be honest, they weren't rolling real great at the World Series. I mean, Pontus made a show, or not a show. He made a final with a purple hammer. Okay. And Simonelli made the world championship, the cashers round. He grinded in, right? Great. And we had 5 or 6 guys, and they're all telling us the same thing. Hey, these things, they'll hook 3 or 4 times and they'll never hook again. But that's what we were seeing in R&D as well. I mean, I was throwbotting a little bit, actually quite a bit. I mean, I drilled no less than 100 of those bowling balls, 120 of those bowling balls, and I bet 5 or 10 of them were good, like decent, excuse me.
Right. I imagine that's really tough as a new company. And I know Mike wants to ask about that, but you're competing against companies like Storm in Brunswick that have been, testing and doing research and development and spending millions for decades.
And they're already they already made their big splash.
Exactly.
Right?
They're already established.
Yeah, they big splash all the time. They got the prominent players and the advertisements and all this. So, like, I understand the pressure of a new bowling ball company to try and go that route and make those moves. I get it. But at the same time, you got to make sure that you're ready to make those moves and in the right position to make those moves. Because if you make them too early, obviously, I think that this situation shows that there's going to be some consequences for that. But Will, my question for you that Rob alluded to is, can you give our listeners here a little bit of an idea from the background perspective of how hard it is for a new bowling ball company like Big to compete against the Storms and the Brunswicks of the bowling industry?
Okay. So if the business is functioning correctly, it's extremely hard. Already extremely hard. I've heard stories about Chrisman, basically just leveraging money somewhere so he could pay the bills next month until, hey, I can develop this ball or I can develop that ball. It's the same thing. Everybody's got to start somewhere, right? Now, with that said, it's hard if it's already functioning or if it's functioning at a decent level. But if the person in charge and or the guy that's designing bowling balls can't take a constructive criticism on his product, then it makes it much more difficult. Because one guy's saying something like, "Oh, they're okay," and then another guy's saying, "Oh, they're good," and then all the guy in charge is saying is, "Well, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You're not seeing it correctly. You need to see it differently." Okay, all right. We're all bowlers here, right? Well, yeah. And we're seeing it one way, and you're seeing it another. We're here. You hired us to give you feedback,
right?
Not to get shit on.
Right. Well, there's just being in corporate America, there's a difference between like being a leader and being like a science or an engineer behind making the stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So like leadership, you need to understand what's going on around you, take feedback from the people you hire, be able to take criticism, right, of what's going on, and build a team together, and then have one goal and accomplish it, right? If you have the guy who's leading also doing the R&D, it sounds, and that person can't take constructive criticism. It sounds like a recipe for a disaster, and it sounds like that's what happened there, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, you said it right. That's exactly right.
Crazy. So I guess where do you think, and I guess, we'll start kind of wrapping up here to get you out of here, but like, where do you see big bowling?
Will we hear from Big Bowling again?
You want my opinion?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's done.
Okay.
Personally, I think it's done. They're not answering emails, phone calls, text messages. I can't get through to customer service, nothing. And so if I can't get through, that means distributors probably can't get through, which also means that customers can't get through. That's, you said it right, recipe for disaster. That those are all the red flags, man.
To your knowledge, is there a lot of inventory left?
The last time I was in the warehouse, which was just before I moved to Pullman to start my bachelor's, there was maybe 50 bowling balls in the warehouse.
Okay.
Which is not very many.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, look, like, honestly, just and I'm gonna say this to be on record, like, just because I know Victor and I know Tony, like, I really believe and hope that they're able to make some kind of like really like rocky underdog, like, come back, right?
Sure.
But I can understand, Will, your point of view, your frustrations.
You got to add to that they make things right with the people that they didn't leave things right with.
Do you have any legal way to like try to recoup any of that money that you had, or is it more of a spit handshake, like startup, like type blood equity agreement?
Here's the way I'm going to look at this. Look, Victor's already got enough on his plate. All right. With the health and, this kind of, his business is crumbling. Okay.
Right.
I don't want to put any more bullshit into his lap. Okay. So the way I'm looking at it is more of a silver lining. It's like, okay, here's the deal. What I lost monetarily, I gained in like a lot of experience. Okay. Like I got to see bowling balls built from the ground up. Awesome.
It's pretty
Something
cool.
I've always wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's cool.
Okay.
Sure.
Secondly, I've made some great friendships. Mike Flanagan, Rhino Page. I mean, I got to room with Norm Duke at the World Series, dude. That was fucking awesome. Okay.
Yes,
it was
so cool.
awesome.
Right.
Okay. Now, and it lit a fire in me to say, hey, I need to do something different. So I wouldn't be here today doing what I'm doing now, which is pursuing my bachelor's in material science, if I would have not gone through this situation whatsoever. So now I've got a mechanical design degree, and I'm pursuing something that I'm extremely passionate about. So really, all I have is thanks for Victor at this point. It's like, if he's listening, I hope he hears this. Thank you, because you set my life on a better path, even if I wasn't monetarily, compensated. And I'm spicy about that. Don't get me wrong, I am spicy about that. But I've gained it in spades in other parts of my life. So silver lining, everything's working out just fine. Okay. And really, I hope the best for Victor. Really, I do. I mean, I've known the guy a long time. I don't want to shit in his cereal, because again, he has a lot on his plate.
Yeah. And
But at the
Victor's
same
been
time,
still doing.
if you get treated bad, that stuff sticks with you.
Sure.
You remember the feelings. You don't really remember the logical parts.
Well, Will, listen, you're a better guy than me because if somebody didn't pay me for a year, son, you better have my money.
Maybe my money.
Okay? Son, you better have my money. Okay? Because, I'm coming for you one way or another.
Yeah.
Right? So, listen, interesting story. Obviously, nobody likes to see somebody fail, right? We're not going to sit here and root for failure or celebrate failure. But I just think it is, to me, this is the kind of story that you never hear in the bowling community that I like to hear the details on. Usually it would just be, big bowling, they're not around anymore. Who the hell knows what happens? But, I feel like with some of these outlets now that are out there, these are some of the stories that we can and should be getting the information on. And Rob and I talk about a lot of other examples, in that same realm, a lot on this show. But this is definitely one of them.
There is a lot of
behind the scenes info.
There was a lot of behind the scenes info going on at a lot of bowling related companies where people feel like everything is roses and dandelions, and they're not.
Dude, it ain't rainbows and unicorns, man. It ain't.
Corporate America, it is in general, but I think a lot of people don't understand and really know what's going on behind the scenes. And I've heard.
I feel like Rob is teasing people to drop in our email, drop in our DMs.
I know there is.
I feel like you're laying the breadcrumbs for the Hansel and Gretels of the bowling community.
I know there's stuff going on.
Oh my God!
I know there's stuff going on. So,
but this to me,
journalism right there. That's the journalism in him.
Oh, there's a little part of me that's a journalist.
I will give him props for doing his little investigative thing here. He did a nice job. But see, this to me though, it falls in somewhat of a different category, just because we're hearing about the business aspect of it, right? It's not just the drama. It's not something personal. It's really the business of why a bowling ball company works or doesn't work. And this story of this new company who came out and tried to take a shot. And it didn't work, but it's interesting to hear the details behind why it didn't work. So, Will, listen, we want to thank you for coming on, and we wish you luck going forward. And man, thanks for the info. Thanks for reaching out to us, and we enjoyed digging into this story a little bit.
Well, do you have a looks like you're in a pro shop. In your email was a pro shop. So do you have a pro shop you want to give to the people? You want to plug it?
Well, I'm in Pullman, Washington, at a place called Zeppo's, actually where I met Victor Marion, consequently. So I took over this shop about a month ago because I needed something to do while I was going to school, and here I am. Just
so where could they visit you to get a ball drilled from a experienced ball rep, ex bowling ball manufacturer?
Just calm down, man.
So what's the name of your pro shop, Will?
It's just the pro shop. I used to own a shop. I called it Willie Styles Pro Shop. So maybe I can get some neon or something out on this one.
Should be keep your bowling balls names out of my goddamn mouth. Pro shop.
Goddamn right. Don't talk about my wife either. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
Will, good luck, man.
too,
Good luck with
Will.
the shop. Feel free to reach out anytime, and we wish you luck, bro.
Thanks, Will.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too.
Later. So yeah, nice job with the investigative side of that, Rob. But again, like I said, interesting story to hear, interesting background to hear, behind the scenes stuff we don't really ever get to hear.
Nope.
You know, a lot of this stuff goes down. Guys sign with companies, leave companies, etc. We never really get to hear what the behind the scenes of it is. But in this case, we did. I find that kind of compelling.
So big news story. I'm about to break. I will be starting my own bowling blog. It's going to be $1.99 a month, and it's going to be called the 12th Frame. So, Jeff, I'm sorry, my man, but I'm coming for you. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. But let me say something real quick. I do like putting the journalist hat on for a story. Reach out to people, and the great thing about it is like that, to know the people to reach out to makes journalism a lot easier. Because if I didn't have the contacts that I did, it would have been a lot harder for me to get responses and answers. But it was also good, you know, Tony and Victor did respond to me and they did reach out to me. And they did give me a little bit of what happened down there. So it was awesome to see both sides of it instead of just seeing one side of it, because you do tend to get, you know, a perspective on not only their side, but also somebody like Will's side, right? Who obviously, you know, was a little bit upset because he wasn't getting paid for his time there.
I should have asked this question. Maybe you or somebody else in the chat knows. The guy Victor, who was the impetus behind Big Bowling,
Mm-hmm.
what I know he worked for Storm previously, right? Do we have any idea of what balls he designed for Storm while working there?
I know he was there for a really long time. I know he was like one of the lead experts in like the research development. So you could probably put his hat on a lot of the balls that were made there. I don't know specifically, and I'm sure, you know, people will listen to this and probably reach out. But I know some of the big ones, you know, because he was there for a while. But you know, no pun intended on the big ones. By the way, that just Big Bowling. Mark Buffalo. Hey, Mark, man, good to see you in the chat. Big Bowling didn't have a great distributor program, which I feel hurt them as well as big distributor partners didn't stock their stuff. Mark, I know, has some experience in that end of the bowling world. I feel like also, and I might be a little bit harsh here, but I feel like some of the pros they brought on could have done a little bit of a better job in their promoting and selling of the brand.
Yeah, but you know what? You like, here's why I asked about what balls he designed, because like in that scenario where you're coming out with a new bowling ball company, like you better hit a home run your first at bat.
Here's the thing: is
you better come out swinging,
Mike. Here's the
you got to come out with a ball that immediately people are going to be like, "Oh, what's that? I need to get that in my hand." Here's
the issue: is I completely agree with you. The problem is what they did is they jumped into the deep end right away.
Right.
What in reality they should have done is they should have started making balls, putting them on the shelves, putting them in the bowler's hands, and then, you know, crawl.
Finding the gem.
As soon as you get that balls that are really rolling great and you feel like, okay, we got something here, then maybe you talk about a PBA product registration.
No, you don't even do that. You talk about patch pirates first. You talk about getting into pro shops. You talk about
give me that big bowling ball,
getting the ball. No, but I'm serious. You talk about getting the ball into the hands of the league bowlers, putting up scores with it, getting people asking, "What's that ball?" You started.
Yeah. You give away a lot of free balls. You give away a lot of free balls to a lot of the prominent bowlers in your area, in the main area. Look, like you have Bowling World is small. It wouldn't be hard to put it in a lot of these bowlers' hands. There was a lot of pros' interest, Mike, in this company because of what I said earlier with the Nugget. Well, listen, there isn't a lot of great stuff going on in a lot of these companies. So when there is a new bowling ball company coming out where you could maybe get a well-known pro, somebody who's been in the industry for a while, a shot at being a part of maybe a future Storm on the early like development of the company, it's going to, the pros' ears are going to raise and they're going to want to be a part of it because they could see themselves being like the next, Hank Boomershine, or somebody who's like the right-hand man of Bill Chrisman, who has a big executive job, and look, the bowling, you want to get involved in that is any kind of bowler, in my opinion. It was a tough situation because I think COVID really hurt them. But from what Will said, I think it was a little bit of a flags from the get-go. But on the other hand, Mike, you do have a startup company, right? When you have 5 to 8 people, it's not going to be organized, okay? It's going to be crazy stuff is going to be going on, okay? You're going to be changing on a day-to-day, a week-to-week basis. There's going to be issues. There's going to be problems. That's the part of working for a startup. That's why it's really hard. Really hard. It's hard to get started and to develop a bowling ball companies. And shouts to Motive, Mike, because Motive did it. And I don't think Motive gets enough props. Like, they did it. Like, they went into a industry with Storm and at the time Ebonite, Brunswick, Columbia, Track, right? And they're still around, and they're not the top of the industry right now, but they're hanging around and they're still around, Mike. And they did make a few really good bowling balls. So I kind of feel like Motive needs to get a little bit more props on that side of it.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move.
Real quick, there's a comment. Motive used to have a lot of patch pirates. Ask Jeff. It's true though. That's the reason why Motive was giving out, ball deals.
They want to get their name out there.
You got to get their name out there, and I don't blame them for that. What they did. So, all right, Mike, let's move on. I know, we got a couple other things to talk about real quick.
So, Tom Shannon interview this week.
Oh.
Tom Shannon, Lucas Wiseman, I think, tweeted out an interview with Tom Shannon, and I retweeted it, and you retweeted it, and we were all talking about it online. And I guess the highlight from the interview, Rob, is he gets asked about the Professional Bowlers Association and owning, Bolero owning the Professional Bowlers Association, and he says something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the PBA is basically an infomercial.
Oh no, he said that it was an infomercial.
I know. Okay, that the infomercial part is a quote, but I'm not going to go much further than that.
Well, here's the thing: is that people I listened to that quote like 15 times and I'll tell you why. Because I didn't understand it at first, and I had to really understand what he was saying. Because I was going to put a tweet out, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have got lit up for it because I didn't understand fully what he said. So essentially what he said is they're using the PBA essentially as their marketing department, essentially, right? Where previously, prior to the PBA, they were paying their marketing team maybe
$10 million.
$10 million a year.
Right, that's what he said.
And
or so they saved. Right. They were spending $10 million.
Yeah,
right,
they went from
spending
being
$10 million
10,000 to being in the black 1,000.
No, 1 million. Yeah, 1 million.
Like 1 million. Yeah,
he said they actually make 1 million off of the PBA.
Right.
So and I'd love to know where that comes from. I would assume it comes from whatever they worked out with Fox or whatever.
The sponsorships, I'd imagine, add up. And obviously the prize funds.
And they got to put that million in their pocket. Come on, son. That's so greedy, honestly.
Well, Mike, going from being in the red 10 million to being in the black 1 million and not having to put a whole lot of time and effort and money into your marketing department as a corporate bigwig or executive who's on the board or, the star, or whatever.
I'm sure
they love that.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure they eat that up. I'm sure.
But
at the same time, doesn't it clearly show that to throw that $1 million back at the PBA and say, here, let's do something with this, it wouldn't really be a big deal. They'd still be up 10 million.
100%. And that was where my biggest problem with what he said was the fact where, yes, okay, if you're making 1 million now on the PBA, and you were renting 10 million, like why don't you take some of that money and maybe take that $1 or $2 or $3 million and put it back into the PBA, like invest in the product, build a streaming service out, build some more, tournaments, put some more like marketing into your players, and try to build it so maybe it goes from being in the black 1 million to maybe eventually you have enough sponsorships to go black, 2 million and 3 million, and you grow it. And then not on top of that is it's all growing the PBA and putting money and making a lot of more money is going to help everybody. It helps their bowling centers. It helps, their bottom line. It helps the pros. It helps the fans. I mean, it helps everybody. So you think maybe they would at least give it a shot, invest in it, get someone who's smart, who knows the business, who knows the industry, put more money into it and build a better product. But I do feel like the future of it is in the streaming service. And they did, but anyway, I don't want to get down that road, but yeah, just him calling it an infomercial though, I just didn't like that term. Everyone, uses the word infomercial in a negative way.
I'm okay with him using that if he's saying, in the context of saying we're using bowling, professional bowling, as an advertisement to try and get people interested in bowling and to come and bowl. I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. But damn, to sit there and say, well, we were spending 10 million, now we're plus 1 million, and you're cutting back on the prize funds and things that you're doing with I don't know. That just doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me at all. So, all right, we'll see. Nico was saying earlier, Rob, in the chat that there's a rumor that the schedule is going to be released tomorrow. So, maybe we'll see that, and maybe we'll get word of what's going on and what it's going to look like. That'll really let me sit back and compare his comments with what the new schedule looks like.
Dude, and Nico's got his ear to the street. He knows what's going on in the bowling world.
Absolutely.
So I'd be interested to see what the schedule looks like. And I think the PBA now has caught on that, Wednesday nights or Thursday morning, they don't want to release the schedule. So they wait for now Thursday night or Friday morning to make us wait a week to get on the show to talk about it. But yeah, I'll be curious to see. We'll see a lot of what Bowlero has plans for future PBA when the schedule releases. So.
Absolutely. All right. The only other thing I wanted to touch on this week, Rob, was this announcement by the PBA that and Bowlero that they're going to be running a national tournament. They announced this week it's going to take place in Milwaukee at a Bowlero center that's being remodeled before the event. It's going to be different divisions. It looks like there's going to be men's and women's open or pro divisions that are going to pay $25,000, and then some lower tier divisions that are going to pay $5,000 for first.
Handicap though, right?
I think some of them are. Yeah. Here's what I thought when I read this press release. What happened to the $250,000? What happened to the 250 G's?
Dude, that one dude
for the
Luis
league bowlers
on it somewhere. The one dude Luis is sitting on there, but Mike, the
other thing I thought is this a shot at the USBC tournament?
Maybe, but I wouldn't be so hard on Bowlero if it was a Bowlero tournament and the Bowlero was putting it on and they put a handicap division, whatever. But if the PBA is involved somehow and their name is getting attached to it, and they have it as a handicap tournament, I kind of makes me a little bit like the PBA, in my opinion, shouldn't be like have any kind of relation to anything that's handicap in the bowling world. The PBA is a professional bowls association. It should be all high level competitive scratch events, right? I just don't kind of agree with them putting their name to a tournament that has a handicap system, to it.
Well, I mean, imagine you're going to get every sandbagging Tom, Dick, Harry, Patch Pirate sandbagger you could imagine
I'm
showing up for this.
208.
So
Let's go.
Bolero's going to find out what it's like to deal with the sandbaggers. I want to bring this comment up by Chayton. They're claiming a $500,000 total prize fund. I saw that too. And then when I saw what the first prizes was, I was like, how does that make any sense? 500 grand total prize fund, and you got 25 grand and 5 grand for first. I mean, multiple divisions. Okay.
Divisions and God.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't know. Not something that I'm trying to go to. However, the other thought I had on this was the good news is that you know this shit's coming to Carolier at some point, right? I mean, they're having it in a 70-some lane center in Milwaukee. If they're going to move it around at all, it's Carolier is going to be one of the places that they have it. They're definitely going to come out to the East Coast.
I'm gonna be a hot commodity at 207 book by the time my league's under.
Oh, we're gonna be loading up on action.
I'm coming to Carolier, baby. I'm gonna have all my 300, 800 rings. I'm gonna have my patch pirate
36 balls with you.
With my name on the back of the shirt, and then
new shirt every day, and your average is going to be 193. 193. 37 balls with them. Different shirt every day.
Different shirt.
Rings on out the ass. 190, 193 average. All right, Rob, let's give the people what they come for. Go ahead. You go first because I know you have yours picked out and ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, in case anybody didn't know, though, a special announcement. There are like 10 new bowling balls coming out next month, and they're all the greatest bowling balls ever. They all go longer and stronger and are must-haves in your bags. Hit me up for a promo code, and I will get you a 5% discount on anything over $1,000 you spend on my website. So I'm going to pull this up here. Mike, you can't, I'm going to read this post, but look at this gash here.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This worst of the week is for the Bolero at Cerritos, California, not for the person who posted this. But this post says, bowled at Bolero in Cerritos, California tonight. Lane 2930 took a chunk out of my bowling ball. Jesus Lord, look at that chunk. But the manager said it could be manufacturer fault and refused to do anything. They said their machine or lane never done that to any ball. What do you suggest I should do? Mike, look at this chunk here. Dude, they could, if this was me, Mike, if this happened to my bowling ball, and I went up to the front desk and they told me that this was a manufacturer fault, I would have left in handcuffs, bro. I would have left in handcuffs. I would have been killing people. It would have been Brock Lesnar up in there. I would have been throwing people through tables. It would have been a wild scene because that is outrageous. The person who runs Cerritos and the Bolero in Cerritos should never even be in a bowling alley, should never run a center. This is a bullshit. This needs to go to Bolero Corp. Like this person, I would start hell. Like honestly, because this person deserves a new bowling ball. Because, dude, that gash is crazy. How that the bowling alley can't take responsibility for that.
I agree. Absolutely. All right, my worst of the week is going to Bowlers Rant YouTube page. Okay.
Oh, wait, Shaden. I'll make that work. I think Shaden actually works for Bolero, right? Shaden, what do you do exactly for Bolero again? I'll definitely.
Look, we got the connections for people.
Yeah.
All right, Bowlers Rant YouTube page. Okay. Yes, I'm giving them worst of the week. Yes, they have 9,000 subscribers. We do not.
Oh shit! Hold on a sec. Storm, I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, that's right. All right, I'll make that hook up. Stu coming in. Stu Williams popping in.
It's always lurking.
Dude, I swear, I for some reason thought
lurking
you were
around.
Bolero, my bad.
Always around.
Appreciate Shane, man.
Bowlers Rant YouTube page. Yes, I'm going to give them worst of the week. Yes, they have 9,000 followers, and we don't. I don't care. I saw a post from them on the Storm Bowling Fans YouTube page or Facebook page, and here's the video. So I clicked on the video. First of all, the video has a picture of a storm ball, the Storm Revenant. Okay, Revenant. I guess it's a new ball, and it has a guy with his face going on the front of the video. Okay, like this is like huge news. Okay, and here's the title of the video: Rumor! Exclamation point. Storm Revenant replaces the Spectre. Is this the one you are waiting for? Sorry, got to give that words of the week. Too much hype for me over a bowling ball I never even heard of. I'm sorry.
It's going to replace the Spectre. Spectre.
Ridiculous.
Dude,
give the people what they want, Rob.
What up, man? Good to see you, bro. Hope all is well. Appreciate you. Dude, Coop's the man. Yo, Mike, you love Coop. He's hilarious, dude. We used to work together at K&K. The people we used to deal with in the pro shops. I could have 30 worst of the week stories a day working at the pro shop for 10 hours. I'd love to run a segment with people who actually work and run in pro shops to give their like worst customer stories.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, you get it all.
Yeah, listen, if you're a pro shop guy, feel free to reach out to us.
You want to come on?
Your worst pro shop stories. No, you can just email us. We'll keep it anonymous. Your worst pro shop stories, worst customer stories, worst questions. We know there's good ones out there. Oh my God, I don't think I've ever laughed harder in my life than I did in a bowling alley pro shop, and that's the truth. Like I used to, piss my pants type laughing at some of the stuff that would be said or asked or talked about in the bowling alley pro shop. I mean, it was ridiculous sometimes.
But the best was like the best, and this would happen a lot, where people would come in and they'd be like, "Yo, my ball's in hooking. Like, I just drilled this ball, $240. It ain't hooking. It can't hook." So we used to give free game passes. So I used to give a free game pass and say, "All right, let's go out to the lanes." When I had time, and I would go out to the lanes, and this person would like be throwing it like dead straight up the middle, and they'd be like, "Yo, this ball ain't hooking," and I'm just like going like. And I just would have that look in my face, like, what, like, really? Like, is this like, is there like candid cameras? Like, is there a cameraman going to pop out of the back and like, surprise, you're on candid camera. Like, we're just fucking with you. But yeah, I mean, you got that a lot, where people, they would just throw headhunters and be like, "Yo, my bowling hooking, I'm leaving pocket 8 10s or 5 pins." I'm just like, okay.
Yo, the one story I remember from the pro shop is that made me laugh so hard. I mean, we talked about this story for so long afterwards. Was this guy came in with his kid, and his kid he had bought his kid a ball. Like, we didn't know where he got the ball, but he bought his kid a ball, and he came in to get it drilled. So when the owner of the pro shop told him how much it would be to get him drilled, I think back then it was like $50 or something. He told him it would be $50 to get it drilled. Yo, the guy absolutely lost his shit, okay? Started screaming and hollering about how there's no way it should be $50. And he ended his rant by saying, "Let's go, Junior. We'll go home and I'll drill the damn thing myself." Yeah, that was one of the best.
Bill Morrison, old JBT guy, man. I'm pretty sure that's the same Bill. Some guy came into a shop I used to work at and asked if I could plug a wooden bowling ball. It was a legit old original one. Can't make it up.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, I swear, I think we're on to something. Yo, if you got good pro shop stories, I want your worst. Send it. sweeptherack@gmail. You don't gotta attach your name to it.
Hit us up. Drop us emails. Oh my God.
We won't even read your
no
email
names.
address.
No names. No.
We will take 25 minutes of dedicated time of our channel, and we will just read pro shop stories, and it will be the freaking funniest thing I guarantee you people have heard, because everybody has 25 of those stories. I might even put it on social media, Mike. If you have your worst pro shop customer stories, let's hear them. I think there's just too many out there for us not to.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine what it's like today with the lack of knowledge that's out there. I can't even imagine some of the stuff they get today.
Dude, it's pretty bad. I worked in the shop for, a year, 10 months, whatever it was. Oh my goodness. And most of the time you're talking to these people is most of them trying to educate them. But the best is when they're asking questions and then you give them the answer and then they disagree with you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what the fuck you asking me for, man? I'm the post-op. I'm a supposed expert, and you're fighting with me right now because like you disagree with what I'm saying. It's like, dude, like I'm telling you, like this is not like opinion. This is fact. Like, and you're still arguing with me.
Oh, all right, Rob, give it to him. My final thought is, I hope the schedule comes out tomorrow.
Yeah. No.
You know, I want to see it. I want to see what's going on. I want to see what's up for the season. I heard a rumor, Rob. I can't even allude to what the rumor is, but I heard a rumor that has me excited. And
wait, I've always wanted to do this. Did you say rumor?
I'm looking forward to the schedule coming out. There's some things that I really want to see if what I'm hearing has been true.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a juicy way to finish the episode. My final thought is I'm gonna be back to B3 to practice this weekend. I decided that I didn't like my equipment, so I'm gonna be retooling my equipment here in the next few months. I'm going to be getting rid of some stuff, some used balls. So I could give a list if people want to buy my used balls. Some of them have been pitch plugged.
Buy his used balls that he got for free is what he's saying.
Yeah, I'm going to sell some of my used balls here. I'm going to retool and get some new stuff. But hey, Mike, that's what keeps me engaged in the sport is be able to keep bringing in new balls and then keep, finding the gems that I throw and then, building a big toolbox for myself when it comes to bowling. But I'm already going to start getting ready to bowl the TAT in the February. And then, there's some team tournaments on Thanksgiving. I'm bowling with Wesley Lowe on Saturday in a team tournament. So, yeah.
Greg Tack event doubles tournament Sunday at Ocean Lanes. Sorted by me, but I have a soccer game at the same time, so I'm not able to go. My daughter has a soccer game, actually, so I'm not able to go. But
all right, Mike.
All good, man. Yo, listen, enjoy your practice session this weekend. Everybody out there who's bowling, enjoy your bowling. Nico, I saw you're going to practice. Good luck, Hoss. Bowl well. Nico, send us a video, bro. I told you, send us a video, okay? We'll help you out, bro. We'll get that game up to par, dude. Send us a video.
Mike,
we'll give you some advice. Okay.
I'm gonna bowl 7 300s this weekend against Mamma Mia.
I'm gonna go retool my arsenal this weekend, all with free balls.
From everybody.
You're terrible.
All staff.
You're terrible. You really are a patch pirate. And yes, Mike Walker, ring the bell, baby. Let's go, Phillies. I'm going to end with that. Everybody have a good week. Sweep the Rack at Gmail. Hit us up. Hit us up on social media. I'm at the 215th. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. Rob, have a good week, everybody. We appreciate you joining us as always. Sweep the Rack. We'll see you later.
Arr.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.